Next slide, please. Good evening, everyone, and to everyone who will be watching the recording of this program. I'm Michelle Scheinkopf, and I use she, her pronouns. I'm the WRJ Vice President of Social Justice, and I'm a member of Women of North Shore Congregation Israel in Glencoe, Illinois. Next slide, please. Tonight, we're going to walk through how to use WRJ's programs in a box. This session tonight is not about mastering the content inside those boxes. It's about learning how to use them with confidence. Next slide, please. Whether you're a sisterhood leader, a women's group leader, or an individual member, our goal this evening is to help you navigate the boxes, feeling confident and ready to begin. Next slide, please. So what are we going to do tonight? Tonight, we will look at the structure of a program in a box, model how leaders think about choices, reduce that overwhelming feeling you might get after looking at the programs, show you where your Day of Action home base is located on the website. This is about having real conversations with real questions with a real live website walkthrough and a role play to guide you through the process. We are not teaching a full program tonight. We are showing you how to build one. Next slide, please. So if you haven't chosen a topic for the Day of Action, there are 3 questions to consider. Who is this for? What kind of experience do we want? Do we want learning? Do we want conversation or taking action? Or maybe a combination? Or maybe all 3? What feels doable right now? Doable is not a compromise. Doable is sustainable. So now, instead of just talking about it, we're going to model what this looks like in real time. So I'm going to invite Trina Novak to join me in a conversation, and we can take the PowerPoint down. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Trina Novak. I am a member of the WRJ High Society and the Education to Action Committee. I am affiliated with the Sisterhood of Temple Beth Shalom in Needham, Massachusetts. My sisterhood is so excited to participate in the Day of Action. We'd love some guidance on how to explore WRJ's resources so we can decide what kind of social justice project makes sense for us. I know that there are 5 programs in a box. Where do I even begin?
Hi, Trina. I'm so glad you asked that question. First, begin by knowing you don't have to do or use everything you see. The boxes are meant to be starting points. They show you the structure of a program, not a checklist you must complete.
Wow, there are really a lot of options here. When I open a box, it feels like so much information. Where should my eyes go first? Am I supposed to use all of this?
No, think of these as flexible guides. You choose what fits your group, your time, your comfort level, and your goals. You are not required to use every item in order to do this right.
What if we're not even sure we want to use one of these boxes?
Well, that's actually when the boxes become most helpful. Even if you don't use one directly, they show you the building blocks of a WRJ program, why the issues matter, Jewish grounding, ways to engage, and meaningful action.
How do I choose a topic? A lot will depend on how many women sign up and what they're ready for.
That's exactly right. Before choosing a topic, ask 3 questions and have a conversation. Who is this for? What kinds of experiences do you want to do, whether it be learning, conversation, or taking action, and what feels doable right now for your group? Once you answer those, one topic usually rises to the top, whether from a box or from your own ideas.
Can you walk me through a section so I can picture what this would actually look like without us getting lost in all the content?
Absolutely. Let's use the reproductive health and rights box as an example, not to teach the content in this box, but to show how it's structured. And through the miracle of technology, let's go to the WRJ website. Here we are at www.wrj.org.
Wow. Where do we go from here?
Great question. So you see here, this is the WRJ homepage. The day of action is featured prominently. So let's click on that. Here's the day of action landing page. This is your hub. This is everything you will need to start for your day of action event. So this is where you register. This is where you share your day of action plans. This is where you find the planning resources. And this is where you find the programs in a box. We'll come back to the signing up and the sharing your plans in a little bit. What I want to do right now is go to programs in a box. So you click on that tab. And here is the WRJ Day of Action Programs in a Box page. We'll scroll down a bit. And you see here the titles of the 5 pages. So these are what we've created. The first 3 were created by our WRJ Education to Action Committee. The Climate Justice Box was created by our WRJ Climate Task Force, and the Anti-Semitism Box was created by the Commission on Social Action Anti-Semitism Task Force. They've shared this with us. So out of the 5 options, we're going to practice with the Reproductive Health and Rights Program. So I'll click on there. And here you see the full program in a box. At the top, you see the Reproductive Health and Rights framing. This explains what the program is about. As you scroll down through the page, you'll see action options. Before choosing one, you should decide, are you doing this as a sisterhood or women's group? Are you doing this virtually or in person? Is this for individual members to do individually or with friends? That's your first decision.
I would really like to look at actions for a sisterhood or organization to do in person.
Great choice. So let's click that on. And here you have that section. So here you'll see several options for group action for a sisterhood or women's group. So for example, here we have storytelling. And this goes through how to do a storytelling activity. It gives an outline and it gives resources such as Jewish Women's Archive resource or even the WRJ blog. So all kinds of different resources to help you with storytelling. Another option is for post-abortion comfort care packages. This is really quite thorough. It goes step-by-step instructions, including what to include and how to partner with a clinic. And you can see here all the different steps, how to do this. Really quite thorough, as I mentioned. And then finally, as we go through this, menstrual justice programming. This focuses on local action like supporting legislation or advocating for tax relief for menstrual projects, as well as how to put together menstrual kits and how to host menstrual justice events. As I scroll down, this link would take you to how to do an event. Just to note, you will need to research local abortion providers and organizations like schools or businesses that are interested in receiving abortion care and menstrual kits. So that we weren't able to do here because, of course, across North America, there would be all kinds of local agencies that could use this type of product. So that you would have to do on your own. So these are suggestions that are meant to spark ideas. You choose what works for your group.
What if we want to do something more education-oriented first and then build up to taking action?
That's a wonderful approach. So I'm going to hit this back arrow and go back to the Reproductive Rights Program in a Box homepage. And we'll go to the second option here. Okay. So just to say, education is often the first step. You can't take action without understanding why you're doing it. So here, let's click on, oh, before we do that, let me just show you that on the page, it gives you background for this program for reproductive health and rights, the Jewish framing, and it also goes all the way to downloading a text study. So just so you're aware, one of our social justice interns and our Religious Action Center WRJ legislative assistant will walk us through that in a bit. When your group is ready, you move into action. So let's go here. Whoops, a little lagging with the website, but we know all about that. So here, we've scrolled to action items and we've clicked on for sisterhoods and organizations to do virtually. Again, here's Jewish text study, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. So these are group actions for a sisterhood or women's group to do virtually with media discussions, podcasts, and policy information. Located here are the very popular Just for This podcast with our CEO, Rabbi Liz P.G. Hirsch, and her various guests on various topics. So here are two with Allison Tombros Corman from the Red Tent, and then one with Rabbi Danya Ruttenberg on this program here. So you could listen to those podcasts and then discuss afterwards. We also have a podcast from Jewish Women's Archives. So what you could do here is virtually watch them together or on your own and then come together to discuss. There's also sex education research that you can look into, and then U.S. abortion policies and access after Roe. So these are all things you can do virtually and discuss online or watch on your own and come together. So let's return back to the day of action. I want to do one more thing here. Go back to the back arrow. And then I want to go here to actions for one person or a small group to do. So here, this is especially important for those who are individual members. Again, we've got Jewish text study. And we go through, again, watching a movie or listening to a podcast, policies. But then what I really like about this is taking action. And these are all different resources you can do, whether it's signing up for a social justice webinar or for our WRJ Today, our Advocacy Matters, which an issue just came out yesterday, and signing up for social justice and advocacy conversations and Mighty Networks, or to visit the Religious Action Center Legislative Action page where you can find up-to-date resources and click actions. Okay. So these are, so here, as I said, you can find all kinds of resources for individuals, or you can also use this for women's groups and sisterhoods. So let's scroll back up here, and I want to go, I can use this tab, whoops, to go to Day of Action. So we're back at our home base, and from here, this is where you can register. So before I do that, I just want to show you something really fun. So we have over 100 sisterhoods and women's groups from across North America who have signed up to do a day of action. So I'm from Illinois, 16 sisterhoods and women's groups have signed up. You're from New York, 11 have signed up. But even more fun, look at this, Rena. So remember, I'm from Glencoe, my temple's in Glencoe, Illinois. There it is. And you're from Needham, Massachusetts. That's there. So your sisterhood already signed up. to do something, as did mine. But the next step, so let's go back here. So if someone has not signed up yet, we ask that they do so, and you would click up sign up to register, and you'd fill out this page, and it goes to our WRJ staff manager of social justice, Rena Crawford. She'll receive this, and the next step to do after you sign up is to go share your day of action plans. So that's where you're at right now, is because you've signed up to go to share your day of action plans. And this has a little bit more detail to fill out once you figure out the program that you want to do. And this again will go to Rena, and then we'll know what you're doing. And if some sisterhoods or women's groups or individual members have problems coming up with an idea, Rena can look over this and help you figure something out for a project. Another thing to consider after you report your action is then again, remember, this is your hub for looking at programs in a box, but here's something even more exciting. Sometimes these programs may cost a little that your sisterhood or women's group or as an individual member, you don't necessarily have. So if you go to this tab for resources and events, scroll down to awards, and here there are microgrants available. Click on microgrants, and it's not a given, but if you have a project that your sisterhood or women's group as an individual member you can't necessarily afford, you can apply for a microgrant that has a social justice take on it. You can fill out the application. It has to be done before June 30th of 2026, and apply and send it over to the microgrants committee. It's not a given that you will receive anything, but look, you can't receive anything unless you do apply. So that's what I wanted to show you about the microgrants. So let's go back to, use my back arrow, and we'll go back to the Day of Action homepage. So that's all. You don't need to memorize anything on a page. You just need to know it exists.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I feel much less overwhelmed now. I'm going to go back to my group and ask where they would like to begin.
Trina, I am so excited you're feeling less overwhelmed by this walkthrough. Remember, when we're finished, you can come back to this site and play around, locating all kinds of resources that can help make your Day of Action program a success. That's exactly why I wanted to walk through the website with you. Now we're going to take a closer look at two areas leaders often ask about: text study and action alerts. So I'm going to turn this over to our social justice intern, Shayna.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shayna Dollinger. I use she, her pronouns, and I am thrilled to be the HUC Social Justice Intern for Women of Reform Judaism. I'm in my third year of rabbinic school at HUC in Los Angeles. And I am here to walk you through the text study that is a part of the Day of Action programs in a box. So once you're on the website, you can navigate to, let's continue with reproductive health and rights. And before we look at the text study itself, I just want to make sure that everyone knows you do not have to have any previous experience. You don't need to know Hebrew. You can come into these text studies with whatever experience you have, and you will be fully welcomed and able to experience the text and the questions to its fullest. So now let's dive a little deeper into these text studies. So you'll go into the program in a box, and you will find the link to the text study, and you will download that. Oh, there's a nice Jewish framing before that. Okay, so now we've downloaded the text study, and you'll see here the format has the Hebrew text on the right and the English text on the left, and then some discussion questions below. So generally, the way that I like to have a text study is starting by just reading the text together and then um, asking the questions, either turning to one person next to you and then sharing as a group, or just discussing all as a group. And the way that this text study in particular is laid out is that the texts are chronological. So we start with the oldest text, and then it becomes more and more recent. So we have some rabbinic text, we have um, some text from prophets, and then some modern text towards the end as well. And you can use those for whatever kinds of discussions you want to have. You do not need to use the whole text study and get through all of it. You can pick and choose the ones that are most interesting to you and to your group. Um, but these are really just here for you to feel grounded in the Jewish text and to understand that all of these issues are part of what it means to be Jewish. And now I will pass it to Jessica. Yes.
Thank you so much. I am going to show you all how to get to the action parts of the programs in a box. So because we have gone over so many different amazing aspects of the reproductive rights program so far, I am actually going to show you all the voting rights program. So if you go back to the programs in the box main page and you go to voting rights, um, each of the boxes have actions for sisterhoods, women's groups, or individual members to participate in. There are options for both virtual, in-person, or individual and small groups to do. Um, so if your sisterhood wanted to do an in-person program for voting rights, you would click on this. This program in Inbox has multiple programs all ready to be replicated. The first option is this storytelling program, which takes no physical resources and would be completely free to replicate. It gives you why storytelling is so important, how long everyone should have to speak, how to provide supportive feedback, and the importance of confidentiality. All of these are just guidelines. You can pick and choose how you want to do it, but it is there ready to replicate. We do a very similar program during Litwaken, which is a social justice conference for high school students. And it really helps everyone feel more confident sharing their stories with peers or even with legislators when talking about a federal bill. More programs include video testimonials, um, where people can use their storytelling skills to share what democracy means to them. You can also use language from different action alerts about why it is so important to oppose certain legislation, such as the Save America Act or Make Elections Great Again Act. WRJ can then amplify these messages on their social media, along with congregations and individuals being able to post these as well. Both of these can be incredible ways to come together with other sisterhoods or organizations and make a huge difference for the broader community. While both of these programs could be done virtually, another great program to do virtually or in person would be a letter writing campaign. Um, so postcards can really encourage individuals to get out and vote. The Freedom to Vote Act and the John R. Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act are great bills to write about and encourage your legislators to support, and this information is all right here as well. While individual members or smaller groups can also do all of these programs, um, you can also do the letter writing campaign, like I said before. listen to podcasts. As Michelle mentioned earlier, the Just for This podcast by Rabbi Liz P.G. Hirsch is amazing. It links to that right there. Or you can take action by doing any of these things, such as signing up for social justice webinars, signing up for WRJ Today, Advocacy Matters, joining the Social Justice and Advocacy Conversations in Mighty Network, or visiting the RAC's Legislative Action page. All of these programs teach about the importance of voting rights and make a difference on a local and federal level. These are only a few examples of projects that can be done on Day of Action. There are so many ways individuals, sisterhoods, and women's groups can make a difference and take action. Although I showed you the voting rights box, the gender-based violence and reproductive rights and health boxes are set up the same way, with action projects and items for sisterhoods, women's groups to do in person, to be done virtually, or for individual members or smaller groups to do. The climate justice and anti-Semitism boxes are set up slightly differently, so I am going to go over those really quickly. Like all of the boxes, the climate justice box begins with why climate justice is so important to WRJ, and then it has action options for Tu B'Shvat, action related to natural disaster relief, and actions related to media discussions and general programming. For Day of Action, the third category would probably be the most helpful as it links directly to different media discussions and gives general programming ideas to replicate. Many of these programs would work for an in-person or virtual sisterhood or women's group and individual members or small groups. And then with the anti-Semitism box, it lists two different ideas for Day of Action specific programming, which includes addressing anti-Semitism at the local government level and combating anti-Semitism with high mitzvah resources. Overall, all of these programs include scalable, replicable actions that are useful not only for Day of Action, but for any time you or your sisterhood want to make an impact. We encourage participation over perfection. Your projects do not have to perfectly match the way these are written. All of these resources are a guide to give you action items and replicable programs that can be used, but feel free to make them your own. And I will now pass it back over to Michelle and Trina.
Wow, that was really amazing hearing all about how to use text study and how to use action items. And thanks so much for showing the other boxes as well. If you remember nothing else tonight, remember this. You don't have to use everything. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to begin. Our goal tonight was not to hand you a finished program. It was to give you the confidence and tools to build one that fits your community. So thank you. And if there are any questions, we're going to take down the website, the miracle of the website, and we're going to open this up for Q&A. So let's see. I'm going to put the gallery on here so I can see. It's so, hey, hi guys. It's the first time I'm seeing all of you. So nice to see you. So any questions about any of the boxes, how to use them, anything about Day of Action? Wow, guys, we must have done really well.
I have a question. Hello.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi, go
I
ahead.
have a question. I have a question regarding just the sign-up process. Now, my friend and I are going to be working on this Day of Action together. So should we fill out two forms with our names on it, or just one with both our names? It sounds a little tight, but I really don't understand what to do.
So all you need to do is fill out one form. Rena, is there room for two names? I'm not sure.
I don't remember if there's room for two names on the first form, but if you just let me know, I can edit it on the back end to make sure that you're both accounted.
Thank you.
So that, remember, there's two forms. There'll be the sign up, the original sign up, and then that second form where you're telling us what you're doing. And that's really exciting that you're doing it with a friend. Thank you. Kate.
Yes, thank you. I know this is called the Day of Action, April 12th, but can we have our action on another day?
Yes, for sure. We understand that there's all kinds of things going on, but the idea was one day where collectively North America, WRJ North America would be doing this, but we totally understand if there's something else going on in your congregation, your sisterhood. So yes, please, please do something. And if it can't be on April 12th, do something. We understand.
Yes, I'll just add in
Go
there.
ahead. I'm sorry.
My sisterhood is scheduled for April 6th because, like many synagogues, you can't get near the synagogue when there's religious school. So we are going to be doing ours on April 6th, and hopefully it will tumble forward so that eventually we can also do related programming throughout the calendar year.
Great. Thanks, Trina. Anybody else want to say something about that? Oh, and Rena put something here.
Yes, I'd like to.
Okay, so Anne, go ahead, and then Flo will get you and go down the line here.
My name is Joyce Silver.
Okay. Joyce, what I don't see you on my screen, but just hold on one second. We're gonna go in order by my my screen if we can. Then I know where we're going. So Ann Carney, you're next.
Okay, thank you. That was very informative, and thank you. It gives a lot of options to think about. I have registered my sisterhood for the Day of Action. One of my sisterhood board members suggested that we do a project with the Center for Asbury Park, which is center that's dedicates its resources to HIV and AIDS patients and lower income families. And many times we have gone into that kitchen that they have and we cook for them and make up trays for takeaways for families to, have food. So because food is such a big issue these days, a lot of people are deprived of nutritious meals. I thought that that could be one of our projects, and I wanted to know if that would be okay to do. And I do have it reserved for April 12th that we could use their kitchen. Is that acceptable?
Oh my God. Yes, it's acceptable. It's wonderful.
Okay.
Those 5 programs in a box are just suggestions.
Okay.
My sister is doing a Feed the Homeless program. So for sure, if your sisterhood, your women's group has a passion for something other than one of those 5, go
Okay.
for it. We want you to be passionate about this. So thank you. That's a wonderful project.
We have another possibility of doing one of the projects in Day of Action program in a box. I was consulting with one of the other sisterhood board not a board member, just a member of sisterhood, and she has some kind of communication with a shelter, a woman's shelter, where women, seek refuge from domestic violence. And I was thinking that I could do some kind of a project to send some kind of resources if they find out what they need and see if I can get people from the whole temple, if necessary, to donate items that this shelter might need. But I could follow that program in a box and see if there's other alternatives as to how to work that. The other 4 projects that you mentioned are very inviting. So even though I registered for the gender-based violence, if I change my mind, I can let you know, and there's not a big deal, right?
Not a big deal at all. And Anne, what I love about that is that you're involving your whole congregation, which means they're going to know more of what your sisterhood does. And, sometimes our congregations just don't know what we're all about. So this is wonderful. Thanks so much for your questions.
Okay.
Take care.
Oh, and thank you. Thank you for your input.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. Hi, Flo.
Hi, Michelle. Question on that Day of Action page on the website, the top button was download a one pager. What's a one pager?
Okay. So the one pager is just information. This was one of the first things that Rena put together, and it was right like back in, I don't know, October or so. Rena, do you want to share that? So this is what you're referring to. And this is just telling everybody what Day of Action is all about. So that's the one page.
Great graphics on it.
Yeah. So if you want to share this with other members of your sisterhood or women's group, or if you're an individual member with your friends, if they're not quite sure what this whole thing is about, that's it in a nutshell.
Perfect.
And,
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Flo, for your question. Andrea. Oh, hi, Andrea. We finally see each other.
Yes, it's so nice to meet you in person finally via Zoom. So there was two questions I had. I received an email this week to fill out a form. Is that the same form that you just showed us on the website?
The second one, yes.
Okay, so I don't need to do that again then.
Not if you've done it.
I have yours.
You have it? Okay, great. So I just wanted to share, we had already done women's reproductive rights and domestic violence and voting rights. So we are actually having Hebrew Immigration Aid Society called HIAS. They're coming to our synagogue and they're going to talk to us about the organization and how they help refugees and immigrants. And then we are going to be making care packages for babies because several of these refugees recently had babies. So I know immigration was not technically on the list, but Michelle, you and I had talked about it, that since we had done so many of those things already, that we are going to do something not on the list. So I know you said to someone else it's okay. I just wanted to confirm that as well.
Totally okay. And what a wonderful organization HIAS is for you to be working and doing that. So thank you.
And we're also including other members. We're also including our synagogue at large if people want to help buy diapers or cream or wipes. So we are also involving our congregation as a whole too.
Oh my God. I love that. Can you tell how excited
And then
I am
my last question is, we already did our promotional materials and marketing materials. We use the logos. If I filled out the form and you have that form already, is there something else that is going to be expected for me to do to communicate our event?
So I'm happy to answer this one. So one, not unless you want to communicate and share anything that you're doing with your program with me for the WRJ side of things. We will release a third data form. I know you've seen the first one and the second one, and there's been a couple so far. The third one will be a follow-up form. So really to inquire about the impact, how the actual event went, what your plans are for follow-up. And that will be really the last pushed communication you receive from me and from our side of things. But I would love any communication that any of you want to reach out to me. My email's in the chat to share anything that you're doing. Either
I'll send you our promotional materials. Thank you.
Yeah, that would be great. And Andrea, I'm also in communication with another group who's doing a Day of Action program who's actually kind of dealing with some difficulty in marketing their program. So I would actually love to pick your brain a little bit offline to learn what strategies you use so I could hopefully help them help themselves too.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rena, we don't have to, this can come later, but maybe we want to talk a little bit about how everyone can promote their projects, especially after the fact. So maybe we'll talk about that after all the Q&A with everybody. So I just didn't want to forget that. Hi, Joyce.
Hi, thank you very much. I'm from Stephen Wise Free Synagogue and co-president of the women's group. We're partnering with National Council on April 12th, and we're having a formal program on April 14th with National Council at our temple, where we're going to be talking about reproductive rights, the current legislation that's in Albany, and we always bring sanitary pads to any event that we have at the temple. One of my questions is, I'd like to know what videos you could recommend for when we have our general dinner with our membership, so that we can introduce them to the excellent work that you're doing in advocacy. And I'd like to do it if you've got it on, I guess, women's reproductive rights. That would be super. You know, just to show what people have done and the accomplishments of WRJ. So if you could recommend something to me, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, Joyce, I'm actually happy to connect with you offline. I'll send you an email tomorrow and we can get in touch about getting you that video. I think it's a great idea.
Gee, thank you very much. I appreciate it, Rena.
Of course.
Thank you for your question, Joyce. Marjorie, how about you?
Hi, thank you so much, Michelle, Rena, and anyone else who was involved in putting this together. I'm from the Reformed Temple of Forest Hills in Queens. I saw some of my pals on this call as well, so I'm thrilled for that. We've been talking about doing something for April 12th. My question is either to you, Michelle or Rena, is there any significance to the actual day that you picked?
I'm happy to let Michelle talk about the day. There's a method to our madness.
Okay.
The original date was Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh.
We thought that wouldn't go over well. The calendar was so full, either whether it was Super Bowl Sunday or it was, holidays or something. And April 12th just happened to be, it's after Passover. It's in between district conventions. It's a busy time, but that was like the only date we could come up with. And plus we sort of have named 2026 as the year of the districts, the WRJ districts. So we're really excited that the districts, their sisterhoods, their women's groups, their individual members are hopefully all going to be participating in this event. And April 12th just happened to be the day. But I had a couple people tell me that Super Bowl Sunday was not a good day.
Not a good day, no. Okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I did hear you say earlier, though, that if we want, we can choose another day.
Yeah.
So we'll
sure.
go back and we'll talk about that because we do not have access to our building on April 12th, unfortunately. So we were thinking we'd do something on Zoom, and I appreciate the virtual choices that you've provided for us. So thanks a bunch.
Yeah, let me repeat. Do not let the date be an issue. If it's another date, that's fine. One thing, like if a building isn't available, you could do something one day and maybe on Zoom on the 12th have a reflection together or something like that. But again, whatever date is most convenient for your sisterhood, your women's group, or if you're an individual member. So
okay,
thank you.
Great, thanks.
Any other questions? So, well, oh, Bernice, go ahead.
My only question is, when will the recording be available? A few people have contacted me and said that they wanted to be here tonight but couldn't, and they want to definitely have access to this program.
The program recording will definitely be up on Mighty Networks tomorrow, but the follow-up email may go out on Monday.
Okay.
And the follow-up email will go out to everyone who is registered.
Thank you so much, Rena.
Of course. I will share again in the chat too that you have my email, Jessica's email, Shayna's email. So if you have either a content-specific question, either about the Day of Action or Programs in a Box at large, you can come to me. If you have a question about the action element, you can ask Jessica. And if you have a question about any of the Jewish framing or tech study elements for any of the boxes, you can ask Shayna. You can also ask our other social justice intern, Emma, who is not online tonight with us. I will put her email in the chat as well, but I didn't want to put her email in there without any context as to who the Emma is on this list.
Is that Barrett?
Yes. So I want to ask about the Mighty Networks. Can I just go to Mighty Networks and then I'll find WRJ there? Because I've had trouble with the link. It takes me to the general WRJ site and it says my membership is pending and it won't let me have anything but a black screen. And I've tried emptying cookies and all that stuff, and I'm pretty technologically competent, so I don't know what's going on. I just want to get to the WRJ on the Mighty Networks. So if I go to Mighty Networks, will I find a WRJ group?
So because I don't know what your screen looks like necessarily, I can't answer the question at
I
this
sent it to
moment.
Julia. I've sent it to a couple of
No
people.
worries.
It's literally a black screen, and it says your name.
Yeah.
And then it's, and then all we get down to, like, there's a fourth thing, it says approval, and then it says pending, and then it's been like that it's almost a month now.
Yeah. I don't know if you've connected with my colleague Heather Lorgery, who I call our Mighty Networks maven, on the staff internal side. She's like the person who solves all of my Mighty Networks conundrums. I'm happy to get you in touch with her if you haven't spoken with her already.
Okay.
Thank you, Karen, for putting her email in the chat. So Barrett, if you want to refer to the email in the chat too and make direct contact that way, just let me know if that's your route to take, and if not, I can help you get connected.
Okay. I mean, I'm able to get around. I mean, I can get around the general WRJ site and all that. I just meant the Mighty Networks. How I could backdoor into
You're
that.
not the only one who's had issues with it, so do not fret. Thank you for
In
raising
general,
it.
I've got
I will get you
everything.
help.
I'm excited about convention. Be my first time. So, yeah. Good. And I'm excited about the day of action and stuff. And should I ask one more question I heard about something the other day that I really feel like we should speak out on. So is that something that I could, for example, take to day of action?
Sure, let's hear.
Okay. Okay. That would be, yeah, because I was very upset that apparently there are girls even being taken from California, all younger girls being taken to a detention center, which I call them concentration camps, in Texas. They are between the ages of 9 and 17, and they are pregnant. They've been raped. They're keeping them there to make them go through with the pregnancies.
Okay.
So I would like to speak up about it.
You know what? And rightly so. Can you email so we can put something like this in Mighty Networks in the social justice and advocacy conversations. But this forum right now is not necessarily the place to start speaking about that. But for sure,
okay,
I'm going to toss it to Serena. Send this to Serena, and we will definitely go further and look into this. Thank you. Okay. And by the way, if any of you are not signed up for Mighty Networks, Heather is the one that you can get onto that. And we have the social justice and advocacy conversations. And Jessica weekly puts our social justice roundup in there, which has action alerts and all kinds of things. So please, if you have not done that yet, please sign up for that. Anybody else? Well, I think we have one more slide, right, Rena?
We do. Do you want to mention anything about marketing events?
Oh, yes. Let's do that. Forgot. Thank you. See, that's what I told you.
Yeah. Well, you feel free to chime in at any time if you have corrections, Michelle, or if you know more than I do, which is very likely. One, recommend going through your sisterhood presidents, putting out in newsletters to get folks to come. flyers or those one-pagers, which we shared on the website forum, are always very helpful. Not that this is always the avenue to take, but we can help as much as possible. We are often at staff capacity, but if you have a question when it comes to marketing, if you need another set of eyes to look at it, we can certainly afford you those eyes, and give our best advice on the staff side of what has worked well for our marketing of programs. Virtual is accessible to all, but folks don't always want to do virtual. So if you can be in person, I think that's always more productive and more effective, which I'm sure a lot of folks agree with. And we're kind of out of the virtual mindset now that we're a few years out from the pandemic. Folks want to be in person again, but oftentimes just including your logo, going through district presidents, putting it on as many newsletters as you possibly can, and spreading the word that way. Something I've also shared with folks when they have marketing questions when it comes to their Day of Action event is kind of taking a community organizing approach. So by that, I mean, if you reach 3 of your friends and you can get those 3 friends to join you on your Day of Action, if you can have those 3 friends commit to bringing 3 more friends, and those 3 friends commit to bringing 3 more friends, then this community organizing cycle just builds and builds and builds, and you have yourself a successful campaign or event, or Day of Action program. And so that's my brief tidbit on how we can do community organizing to get ourselves to Day of Action, but hopefully can also build a successful event. Michelle, do you have anything to add on that?
No, that's great. And also after the event, we'd love to see pictures and post them on, WRJ social media so that we can see what you did. We'll have more information about that, where to send those to as we get closer to the event. But definitely take pictures, and maybe even in your district newsletters or your sisterhood women's group newsletters, write up about what you did and how successful it was. Another thing to think about, if you have a small sisterhood or women's group, or again, if you're an individual member, see if there's another affiliate in the area, and maybe they'd like to team up with you. So it doesn't have to be just you. And what a great way, big S, little s sisterhood, how to work together and get to know even more people. So that's another option for you if you need more to get involved. So definitely take pictures and search your areas and see if there's others in your communities who would like to get involved with all this. I love the fact that, we heard that we're going to partner, that one of the sisterhoods is going to partner with NCJW. So that's wonderful. So let's get as many affiliates engaged as possible and work on that sisterhood, spirituality, and social justice that's so important to us as WRJ members.
Thanks, Michelle. I've shared in the chat too, if you do take photos of your Day of Action event, you can email those to photos@wrj.org. If you post photos, right now the best method is to tag WRJ on Instagram or Facebook or whatever social media you're using to share photos of that. We're in the process of thinking through some creative ways to share photos, one of which is a link to a folder in our 3rd form, which would be that follow-up form, through which you can really just drop photos from your event into that form, and that should be pretty simple. But if you have some creative ideas on how to share more about Day of Action, please feel free to email me. And another reason to email me is if you would like an opportunity to share more broadly about your Day of Action plans, you can email me and we can see what is possible. If it's an article in our Social Justice Quarterly newsletter or a feature in our weekly newsletter, there are many opportunities through which you can share your narrative. And we can make sure that your Day of Action event has a platform upon which to be spotlighted. Okay, I will share my screen one more time this evening. I know I've done a lot of that. These are just some upcoming programs we have. A lot of them are related to Day of Action, conveniently. So March 10th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, we have Building Strengths-Based Cultures of Upstanders, which is a supplementary additional program leading up to Day of Action. It is in partnership with the Holocaust Center in Cincinnati. thanks to Liz McOsker, who is our co-chair for Day of Action. And this program has an associated survey that we would like for folks to take beforehand, as it gives a little bit of foreground knowledge to help you and get yourself acquainted with the content of that evening. March 23rd at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, we have Cooking Outside the Matzah Box, Unique Passover Recipes and Demonstration, which I've heard has some recipes involved and a cookbook, which I'm always very excited about when we have programs like that, and I do oftentimes make the recipes. So thank all of you who are on this call who submit recipes. And then save the date, April 11th, the evening before the date of Day of Action, which again, it can happen any day. This is not just related to Day of Action, but we're having an opening Havdalah, which will feature some recognizable names in the Jewish music and social justice world, as well as some names that you are not so familiar with, but we hope you come to be more familiar with. And that'll be really a justice-oriented Havdalah, but if you're not participating in Day of Action, you are more than welcome to attend and have all your friends come too. And that will be virtual too, so watch out for an upcoming Zoom link on that. And those are what we have going on. And April 12th is obviously Day of Action, but I did not put that on here because I think we've said it a couple times this evening. So thank you everyone for joining. Again, if you have any questions about anything we've said, you have our emails, and we are so grateful to your dedication and commitment to Day of Action and WRJ. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank you.